One Zambia, one nation. You are watching the news with me, Henry Himonde. A look at the top stories in our news. Indeni Energy Limited to start blending petrol with ethanol. Government reviewing school curriculum to meet current needs. Government to market Chembe Bird Sanctuary. And Chief Shaibila dissolves 10 child marriages. The news in detail. Minister of Energy Peter Kapala has announced that Indeni Energy Limited will in the next 3 months commence the mixing of petrol with ethanol. Mr. Kapala said this during a meeting with fuel transporters in Ndola, adding that the blending of petrol will be done using locally produced ethanol. ZESCO has attributed the delay to restore power supply to Mfue and other areas of Mambwe district in Eastern Province to adverse weather coupled with waterlogged terrain. The area has had no power supply since February 12, 2023, after some towers along the 66 kilovolts transmission line from Musoro substation to Mfue collapsed due to heavy rains and flooding. ZESCO Deputy Director for Transmission Clement Siame told ZANIS in Mambwe that engineers faced challenges in transporting poles, conductors and other materials to the site where the electricity pylons collapsed. Details in the following report.
Mfue and other parts of Mambwe district in Eastern Province have had no power supply since February 12. This is due to the collapse of some towers along the 66 kilovolts transmission line from main Musoro substation to Mfue. A team of experts from ZESCO led by Deputy Director for Transmission Clement Siame had been on the site.
We have a line from Musoro substation, 66 kilovolts, going to Mfue, which has some towers eroded. You can see one of the towers is still leaning, which was pulled down by the tower that was actually here, which has actually been taken by the river. This river originally was not on this course. It actually just formed an oxbow lake. However, the moment it came this side, it started eating the river bank, eroding the river bank, and eventually eroded the towers, which caused the falling of this tower here. And then when this tower fell, it pulled the other tower, which broke the supporters and destroyed over 1,500 meters of conductors.
Since then, ZESCO engineers have been battling to restore power supply, but adverse weather conditions coupled with waterlogged terrain had been hampering progress. Among the challenges was lack of access to the site.
As ZESCO, we put in all the resources we have so that we can try and service our customers in the shortest possible time. But we face challenges. One of them has been transporting materials from the other river, where we don't have a bridge, up to this working site, which is about 12 kilometers away.
But what was the impact of this prolonged power outage?
In the tourism sector, because we have quite a number of lodges that are getting supply from this same source of supply. Apart from that, I think even the communities in the area have also been very badly affected. But what we have done, just to cushion the impact, we have put in standby generators to supply the critical loads like the hospital and the district administration office.
For ZANIS in Mambwe district, I'm Lovasi Mtafela.
Meanwhile, in Central Province, Provincial Police Commissioner Mkukachileshe says community policing training is key in building capacity in Zambia police service officers to discharge their duties effectively. Mr. Chileshe said this in a speech read for him by Divisional In Charge for Protective Unit, Roy Wamulume, during the closing of a 10-day training in Kabwe District. More in the following report.
They have completed a 10-day refresher course to boost their knowledge and skills on sexual, gender-based violence and child protection to enhance the protection of women and children against all forms of abuse. Central Province Commissioner of Police Mukuka Chileshe, who was represented by Divisional In Charge for Protective Unit, Roy Wamulume, says the training is timely and in line with recent reforms like the Child Code Bill and capacity building initiatives.
Need to heavily invest in continuous training programs that aptly respond to contemporary policing needs. As you may all be aware, police officers are frontline professionals who respond to emergency situations in order to secure citizens' property. The reason why we are classified as first responders. It is thus imperative to ensure professional handling vis-à-vis OGBV and child protection matters.
The Scottish police officers conducting the training have emphasized the need for a thorough, professional and sensitive approach when investigating sexual crimes.
It was very pleasant to witness the passion that the officers had in relation to the investigation of gender-based violence, sexual offences and child protection. We, fortunately, have observed firsthand our training being applied to cases of gender-based violence that have been reported during our stay here. This was very impressive. The training is already being used. Police Scotland we are very committed to tackling gender-based violence, sexual offences and child protection. We do hope that the learning will be shared and result in enhancing the investigation of gender-based violence, sexual offences and child protection in Zambia.
Police Constable Vero Stadi says the training will enhance the understanding of gender-based violence and child protection among police officers as they discharge their duties, especially protecting women and children from abuse.
We know that time has been short, but you have made the most out of it. We hereby promise that the knowledge we have acquired from the lessons and your shared experiences will go a long way in our daily policing work. We are grateful to the Inspector General of Police for having considered Central Division to be a beneficiary of this good partnership between the Scottish and the Zambian government.
The officers have been trained on a number of modules, including sexual gender-based violence, handling and investigating of sexual gender-based violence, child protection and child abuse, human rights and conflict-related sexual violence, and other thematic topics. Daniel Billy for ZANIS News in Kabwe, Central Province.
The Ministry of Education has started the process of reviewing the current school curriculum to ascertain what needs to be modified and changed in the next syllabus. Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Joel Kamoko, says the review will start with evaluating whether the current curriculum has met its aims and outcomes. Mr. Kamoko says the evaluation of the curriculum will also assess learners to ascertain the pass rate. He said this in Lusaka during the official opening of the Inception International Experts Meeting on Designing and Developing the UNESCO Curriculum Resource, and UNESCO Chairperson on Mathematics, Science and Technology, Teacher Education for Sustainable Development, Overson Shumba, said the curriculum will, among other things, seek to address challenges such as climate change and COVID-19, which have affected school calendars. Professor Shumba also said the Copperbelt University is leading in conducting the development of the new curriculum.
We anticipate as a nation that Curriculum Resource Bank being developed will be a practical instrument for guiding the transformation of pedagogy and learning. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Education in Zambia greatly appreciates the support from UNESCO, which will go a long way in strengthening the capacity of our institutions. The Ministry of Education further appreciates the international experts contributing to the development of the resource park. I am aware
this particular tool which we are tasked to develop is to develop a tool which will help build the capacity of teachers and teacher educators to be able to effectively implement the curriculum. And so we've got the following objectives as we run this workshop. The first is to come up with a structure and to develop the transforming pedagogy and learning resource pack for training educators and teachers on curriculum.
We continue with the news. Government says it is impressed with the response from girls in Mafinga district to the Keeping Girls in School program. Mafinga District Commissioner Boyd Kaonga says 832 girls who had stopped school due to various circumstances are back in school. More in the following report by Fred Dipiri.
Going to an extent of buying more than 20 chickens, keeping them. If they need something to buy, they'll just go for 1 or 2 chickens, they sell, they have money, they go to access what they want. Some have bought 1, 2, 3, even 4 goats, which they have already kept. Others have even gone to buying some farm inputs to open their small fields.
It's feasible girls are back in class and are learning. Keeping Girls in School, KGS, has impacted positively to rural girls. A component of Girls' Education and Women's Empowerment and Livelihood GWEL project has brought back over 832 girls to schools in Mafinga district of Muchinga province. School authorities at Tendere are excited.
Who are being sponsored by KGS, which is Keep Girls in School. We have about 146 at the moment, with money, which is about 600 kwacha, and from there they're able to buy their basic needs like pads and these other things. Others have even bought, they are even investing. Yes.
Some of these are victims of forced and early marriages.
Nalikwata omwana but apa nalibwekera pa school. Kanshi mweba nandi bosende mikosesho kwebati weleni pa school cause this school lisuma. Inoshita kuli free education.
Today, the girls are raising chickens, goats, and even cows.
As at now, I'm keeping 2 goats and 16 chickens.
2 poultry, where as for now, I have 24 chickens. And these chickens, I know that whenever I like something, I'll sell one to KGS, and I would love to encourage my friends, those who are not in schools, to come back in school.
Fred Piri, ZANIS News.
Still in education news, a number of pupils at Kakunka Primary School in Chiwambo District has continued to drop despite government introducing free education. Chiwambo District Commissioner Lloyd Kaeka has since visited the school to acquaint himself with the situation. More in the following report.
The introduction of free education has led to an increased pupil enrollment at many schools in Chiwambo District. But this is not the case at Kakunka Primary School.
We have about that is between 265 and 300 from 450. Yeah, but the number was running almost 500. That is from preschool to grade 9. From preschool to grade 4, the figure was very high. And we had double classes. From preschool to grade 4, we had double classes. But this time now, we are only managing single classes.
Headman Mulabo, who is also PTC chairperson, explains one of the reasons for the drop in the pupil enrollment at the school.
So no one so that's why
Chiwambo District Commissioner Lloyd Kaeka visited the school to check on the situation.
Some of the headmen around this area who sold the land
minus the knowledge of the subject of their villages. So at the end, the subject is moved away from this place. That means it has reduced the number of the community around this school. That's why you can see with that now, even the numbers are not raising the way it started. But I'm very sure that in the future it will catch up.
Meanwhile, a Chinese investor has donated exercise books, pencils and pens to the school as a way of motivating the learners. Trevor Luwala for ZANIS in Chiwombo District.
In Luapula Province, Lewis Changwe reports that the Mwansabombwe District Council has started supplying clean water to some communities as a way of preventing the further spread of cholera. Council Senior Health Inspector Geoffrey Bwalia told ZANIS that the local authority is targeting communities who draw water from shallow wells. Here are the details.
In an effort to prevent further spread of cholera in Mwansabombwe, the local authority has come up with a number of interventions. One such intervention is supplying of clean water to the targeted communities using a water bowser. Geoffrey Bwalia is Council Senior Health Inspector.
In an effort to prevent further spread of cholera, Luapula Water, the Minister of Water Development, provided us with a bowser to help us take water to some communities that have no access to clean and safe water. So it's such population that we are concerned as a district, as a local authority, to ensure that they can also have access to clean and safe water during this period of the pandemic.
The residents are happy for the gesture, but have a request to make to the local authority.
Aya kutila ngatwanwa tatulwele ubulwele bwa kolela nomba batu wafuilisha kona tukolorini batupela kona nti abantu aya batupela ya bushiku bumo nomanga bale twadililo kutupela amenshitila bushiku tetitulelwala.
Lewis Changwe, ZANIS, Mwansabombwe.
Meanwhile, on the Copper Belt Province, Minister of Tourism Permanent Secretary Evans Muhanga says government will start promoting and marketing the Chembe Bird Sanctuary in Kalulushi District to make it a lucrative tourism package. The Chembe Bird Sanctuary, which is known for its annual bird migration from Europe, is currently home to various species. Chirundu District Commissioner Patrick Kasambila says the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit has sent 150 metric tons of relief food to cushion the hunger situation among vulnerable households. Mr. Kasambila said 20% of the relief food will be distributed to vulnerable households, while the remaining 80% will go towards food for work-related community projects. Mr. Kasambila, who is also Chirundu District Disaster Management Committee chairperson, said the identification of vulnerable households will be done by the recently reconstituted Satellite Disaster Management Committee. ZANIS reports that the Chirundu District Commissioner said this when he witnessed the arrival of the first batch of the 150 metric tons of relief food in Sigongo area. He further explained that government has selected the Zambia Red Cross Society in Chirundu as the project implementing agent who will distribute the relief food on behalf of government. And speaking at the same function, Chirundu Town Council Chairperson Nevasi Mujindu implored civic leaders in the district to take keen interest in the exercise. Earlier, Zambia Red Cross Society Chirundu Branch Finance Subcommittee Chairperson Michael Hazemba said his organization would distribute the relief food within 2 weeks.
The district, our consignment is about 150 metric tons
But for today, we received about 40 metric tons, which is about 800 bags by 50 kg white maize. And the whole setup is as follows: 20% will be for vulnerable households, and 80% will be for food for work. Satellite committees are already in place. Actually should commence or to start maybe identification of beneficiaries in accordance guidelines from the DMMU, and also the project implementing partners for strict readiness for the relief maize. And I think this program to start by next week. Things goes well. We are just waiting to the balance, and I'm sure come next week everything will be delivered to the district, and the program of giving out to the beneficiaries will start. Thank you so much.
On the councillors to make sure that the people that will receive the would-be beneficiaries should be proper vulnerables, real vulnerables. And also to make sure that the coordination, the working relationship with the satellite committees, they should work hand in hand to make sure that all this maize is distributed accordingly. And the intended purpose of this is to make sure that everyone receives, though it is food for work, and we are supposed to make sure that this food for work doesn't bring problems. I know always when we have such, people start pulling each other. So councillors as focal points, let them coordinate well with the satellite committee.
Yesterday we had just a short meeting in preparation for receiving the consignment. So from our agreement, we had agreed that we use 2 sheds. So this one from here and also at Gosemi in Chirun, so that we ease distribution from all the wards, because we realize that the road going to Pambazana is impassable. So it may cost us track. So we just use the 2 sheds and be able to start, and we are ready to start I think by next week. As well as we get the beneficiary names, we'll be able to start. And we intend that maybe within a week or 2, this assignment is supposed to be done.
Chief Shaivila of the Lala people of Mukushi district in Central Province has dissolved 10 child marriages in his chiefdom. Speaking during a multi-sectoral adolescent technical working group meeting, Chief Shaivila's representative Leonard Mvula said it is unfortunate that some parents still want to marry off their children at a tender age. He explained that Chief Shaivila has instructed village headmen to submit reports on issues affecting children. He said the traditional leaders' action further aims at ensuring that boys and girls involved in child marriages get back to school. He emphasized that they need to educate young people. There is need to educate young people so that they can achieve their aspirations. The traditional leader added that poverty and cultural practices are some of the main drivers of child marriage. On the Copperbelt province, the 650,000 kwacha Chankalamu Health Post in Kitwe's Kamfinsa Ward is nearing completion. Kamfinsa Ward Councillor Joseph Katongo says the construction of the health post has excited people who used to cover long distances to access healthcare services. More in the following report.
This is one of the success stories of how the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is transforming lives of people across the country. In Kitwe's Kamfinsa Ward, Chankalam Health Post has been constructed using CDF to the tune of 650,000 kwacha and will soon be operational to attend to the health needs of the people in this area. Currently, the people of Chankalam cover a distance of about 10 kilometers to access healthcare services, but with the coming in of this health facility, the residents will now begin to enjoy medical services on their doorsteps.
I'm impressed that this project is costing 600,000. In other places, the exaggerated prices, they would have cost 1.something million. You see, if you exaggerate prices, you deny yourself other facilities. Within that money, you are able to do other things. And I'm happy the way people have received this. We need this area also to develop, like in other places. People are very grateful. And also, we have emphasized on working together as leadership. This is very good, and I'm impressed. The quality is good. They're using local contractor, and the benefit is for the people as well here.
A borehole has already been sunk here at this facility, while an ablution block is also nearing completion. The Kitwe City Council is attending to about 160 CDF projects under the 2022 funding.
Here what we have is a health post, and the health post is not just going to have a health post alone, we're also going to have a commercial borehole and a regular stand. So the total amount is 650, like the minister has said. I just got a broken down issue of 396 for the health post and 207 for the water regulation. So we are following the good guidance of the president to ensure that all health posts at least have running water and all other facilities that are necessary to the post. So this is a good work in progress. The contractor is a contractor and is definitely using our local people. The councillor is happy. The good report that has come from the councillor is that even the workmanship itself, the residents are happy.
Conference Award Councillor Joseph Katongo is grateful to government for this development.
The government and for the CDF, the way it has come down to the people. As you can see, this place has been without this facility for quite a number of years. Yes. They used to go up there about 3-5 kilometers away. But now this facility will be in place and it is just a walking distance, which is a very good thing.
Government increased the Constituency Development Fund CDF in 2021 from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha, and later last year increased it to 28.3 million kwacha in a bid to take development to all parts of the country. Kalan Muchima reporting for ZANIS in Kitwe.
The United States Congress has pledged to increase its support to Zambia's education and agricultural sectors. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who is leading a delegation of U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee visiting Zambia to check various projects funded by the American people, has reaffirmed the Congress's commitment to lobbying for increased investment to the education and agriculture sectors. Mr. Graham says the Congress is happy with the strides the Zambian government is making in fighting corruption. He says fighting corruption guarantees prudent utilization of funds for U.S.-funded projects in Zambia. He was speaking after inspecting a U.S.-funded literacy program at Kavuyu Primary School and checking on the strengthening climate resilient in agriculture Scala project in Kazungula district today. Mr. Graham said Zambia is becoming a good example of prudent utilization of resources in the region. And U.S. Senator for Appropriations Committee Chris Coons says America provided about $5 million United States dollars for various projects in Zambia annually. Mr. Combs says one of the successes scored by the President's emergency plan for AIDS relief funding towards the health sector, which has increased life expectancy in Zambia by 20%. A delegation of U.S. congressmen is in Zambia to, among other things, monitor the implementation of various U.S.-funded projects.
And a free education with a meal for every child in Zambia is a worthy goal. A student-to-teacher ratio that will make learning more possible, to me, are things that are worth investing in. So this is a moment, from our ambassador's point of view, he is very excited about the next couple of years in terms of the partnership between our countries, and to this new government. Believes the new government is the best partner the United States could have in the region potentially, that the new government offers a lot of promise on the corruption, reforming systems, dealing with the corruption. So what I hope we can do is get more American investment here from the private sector.
Provides about $500 million US in assistance a year to Zambia. We were very impressed to hear that over the last 20 years, our investment in public health, in combating the HIV/AIDS epidemic, has had a huge positive impact across Zambia. Here at the Bulking Center, listening to farmers, hearing about the programs for climate resiliency to improve crop production. Earlier today at the school, seeing the impact that feeding programs can have at schools. We are both seeing opportunities where additional investment by the United States could have additional positive impacts across Zambia in the coming years. When we return to Washington, we will be talking about what are the priorities of the Zambian government and how can we work in partnership with them to deliver more positive impacts for the future.
Southern Province is one of the provinces that are worst hit with climate change. And from the SCRADA point of view, we are trying to mitigate the effects of climate change. This, I think, strengthens the partnerships, strengthens the collaborations that government and the other development agencies are having.
And finally, government has embarked on training 35 sub-district staff from all the 12 wards of Shangombo district with the aim of increasing accessibility to clean water and sanitation in the area. The UNICEF-sponsored 4-day training involves environmental technologists, community health assistants, public health nurses, and school health and nutrition coordinators. More in the following report by Kasweka Sakaimbo.
Despite government's continued efforts to improve nutrition, Western Province, however, has barriers to water, sanitation, and hygiene practices at household level. In Shangombo district, open defecation continues to be a widespread problem, with people opting to use open spaces to answer the call of nature instead of constructing toilets. In line with this, the government, with support from UNICEF, through Water and Sanitation and Hygiene, WASH, is training 24 sub-district staff with the aim of enhancing awareness messages in the district at all levels.
Related to clean water as a district, the status quo is we are still very, very below. We are about 37 to 40%. So a workshop like this is very, very encouraging. I want to thank the new donor administration for the increase of CDF, because I'm optimistic that we'll get a lot of support from the CDF in equalizing the status quo of our district.
Patrick Moitwa is the district WASH coordinator and Scaling Up Nutrition San2 focal point person.
The government is highly committed to the issues of water and sanitation. We can actually pick it from the point of increased CDF. Water supply is demand driven, so the community, if they don't know that there are these services from government, they can sit. So if they are given the knowledge and the procedure how to demand for the service, then we shall always do the service to the community.
The participants are ready to enforce behavior change.
From now onwards, we are heading to an open defecation-free district in a way that, as a nurse, I will ensure that our district will report a few cases.
In our communities, we are accumulating a lot of feces around us by not constructing latrines.
Kasweka Sakaimbo reporting, Shangombo district.
Kasweka Sakaimbo's report brings us to the end of ZANIS News, but before we go away, another look at the top stories in our news. Indeni Energy Limited to start blending petrol with ethanol. Government reviewing school curriculum to meet current needs. Government to market Chembe Bird Sanctuary. And Chief Shaibila dissolves 10 child marriages. That is what we had prepared for you on ZANIS News. On behalf of the entire news production crew, I'm Henry Himonde. Until next time, it's goodbye.